Shalom, shalom, family. This is Yehuda from YAH'S Assembly, and I know there's been a lot of comments, so I'm trying to clarify things. So there are people from, I guess you could call them the Sanhedrin or the Jewish religious heads that have been saying that they have been in meetings with the Messiah, not a Messiah, not that there's one coming. And then this one is going to make it known. They actually talk about in certain prophecies from the Talmud that there's actually two Messiahs. So for the people that were coming at me crazy, I'm just letting you know what their Jewish leaders are saying. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like and share our content, and I'll get back to you at the end of the movie.
Is the Jewish Messiah coming this year, 2022 to 2023, or has he already even been revealed? There's quite a few things happening right now surrounding this subject of the revealing of the Jewish Messiah. That's what I'm going to get into in this video. I'll cover a rabbi who says he's currently in conversations with the Messiah, then some Talmud prophecies that say that the Jewish Messiah is coming this year, and the Russian-Ukraine war proves that, and lastly, a candidate that looks like he's gaining prominence in Israel that points to him potentially rising to the level of prominence that we will need to see to fulfill the prophecies of the false prophet and the Antichrist. First, I'm going to get into the rabbi who claims that he is talking and holding meetings with the Messiah already. This is from Israel Today, and the article says Israeli rabbi says he's already holding meetings with the Messiah. I'll read a little bit from this article and then get into the Talmud prophecies. A recent interview on Israeli radio featured prominent rabbis explaining that the Messiah is just about to reveal himself. Rabbi Yaakov Zischoltz told Religious Broadcast Radio 2000 that Rabbi Kanievsky, who passed away earlier this year, had told him that Kanievsky was already in direct contact with the Messiah. To understand why religious Jews are taking this seriously, it's important to know that Rabbi Kanievsky was considered one of the 2 or 3 top rabbis in the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community in Israel. The article also says that Rabbi Zischoltz says that Kanievsky and others of the mystical concealed rabbis had tasked him with informing the public of the Messiah's imminent arrival. A few mentions within the article about what point to their belief that the Messiah is coming. One is it says Rabbi Cook responded that when the Messiah arrives, the Sea of Galilee will be full. In a few weeks, the Sea of Galilee will be full for the first time since Rabbi Cook made this statement. Lastly, it says that a few rabbis from decades ago and some of Israel's most revered sages both predicted that Benjamin Netanyahu would be the state of Israel's last prime minister prior to the Messianic age. A great many, if not most, of the Orthodox Jews in Israel continue to believe that to be true, as Israel's last round of elections near November 1st of 2022, Netanyahu again looks poised for victory. So as we see many of the Jewish people's, the Orthodox Jewish people's beliefs of the coming Messiah are not just taken from what we Christians believe in the Old Testament prophecies that pointed to Jesus, but they have many of these other Talmud prophecies and some of these sages and these rabbis coming up with their own prophecies that point to a messianic age because they reject Jesus as the true Christ. And some of these prophecies are within the Talmud, which is a central text of rabbinical Judaism, and it's a primary source of religious law in Jewish theology. On March 31st, 2022, an article from Israel 365 News says Talmudic prophecy reveals Russia-Ukraine war indicates Messiah's arrival as early as 2022. I'll read the most important parts of this article that point to what the rabbi is claiming here. And it says that the rabbi explains that the nation of Israel will experience redemption in the 7th year of the sabbatical year, which we are in right now. Furthermore, the rabbi adds that the war in Ukraine is happening in the months that are associated with redemption, Adar, which the Jewish people celebrate their redemption from the destruction during the holiday of Purim and Nisan in March and April, where the Jewish people celebrate the redemption from Egypt on the holiday of Passover. The Talmud says that the Jewish people will be redeemed in the 7th year in the Sabbatical year. Not only are we in the Sabbatical year, but we are in the 3 months of the year that are really geared for redemption. That's 2 months of Adar, where the redemption of Purim occurred, and the following month of Nisan, where the redemption of Passover, leaving Egypt, occurred. Rabbi Richer explains that the Talmud prophesies wars in the 7th year, and in the 8th year, the Messiah will arrive. The tractate of Derek Zuda in the 10th chapter, the first law, it says that there will be wars during the 7th year, specifically at the end of the 7th year. At the beginning of the 8th year, the Messiah of David will come to redeem the Jewish people, the Mashiach, the son of David. The rabbi explains that when the wars end in the 7th year, the Messiah, a descendant of David, arrives in the 8th year, September 2022 to September 2023. Here's the last quote of this article. It says that in the 7th year there are wars, and that represents the beginning of redemption, and then the Messiah comes on the eve of the 7th year. So most of the commentaries say that there are, of course, 2 Messiahs. There's the Messiah, the son of Joseph, who fights the battles, who's the physical side of the redemption of the Jewish people, and that happens during the 7th year, wars, etc. And then after the 7th year is over, the beginning of the 8th year, that is the Messiah of David. That's the first time that I've ever heard a reference to the Jewish people expecting or believing in 2 coming Messiahs, but isn't that interesting with what we know from Bible prophecy of the Antichrist and the false prophet? Also worth noting, another rabbi claims in his book, Elim, when you see the nations inciting one another, challenging one another, threatening one another, be prepared for Mashiach. Very similar to what we hear and what we know from the words of Jesus in Matthew 24. In the end, there will be wars and rumors of wars, but see that you're not troubled, for the end is not yet, and these things must come to pass. Then the Antichrist comes. That's the guideline we have in the New Testament. Wars, rumors of wars, Antichrist. What we're hearing here from the law and the tradition of the Jewish people, according to the Talmud, it's wars and rumors of wars, then Messiah, which leads to what may be the most interesting part of this video, which is the prominent rabbi who has been rising up in Israel over the past few years, Rabbi Rav Shlomo Yehuda. And this rabbi has been gaining a lot of prominence the past few years. He's actually considered the Yanuka, which is a person who rises up very rarely within generations. They say that's how rare it is, that some will rise up once every generation, and is somebody who knows the Torah and understands the Torah way beyond what anyone else says. There's stories of him just sitting at the Western Wall, speaking of the Torah. They say he's melting into himself and just speaking the Torah so well that these people are just awestruck at his teaching and what he's saying. Now, I'm not going to claim that this guy is the Antichrist or the false prophet, but as people rise up in prominence in these different religions all around the world, even in America, if a so-called Christian were to rise up and was not living according to the Bible and looked as if he would potentially fulfill the prophecies of the Antichrist or the false prophet, I would make a video on him as well. So I'm not saying that this is what this guy is, but when people rise to prominence and they could potentially lead to fulfill these prophecies, then they're just looked at and evaluated. And what's strange about this guy, first off, the fact that he's the Yanuka and he has this profound level of understanding of the Torah, as well as there's a video from 2021 at the Western Wall. First off, as he's walking up to the Western Wall, he's being completely crowded and surrounded and really crushed by the public trying to get close to him. Pretty strange just seeing the public in awe of such a figure as him for just being a rabbi. And he's so young, and that's part of the thing of the Yanuka, that he takes up to the Torah so young. And there's a picture of him here at the Western Wall in the little section where normally it's made for very high up rabbis who are normally very old, who have been within the rabbinical order for a long time, and they have this prominence. And then here they let this Rav Shlomo Yehuda guy in, and here they let him into this section of the Western Wall where normally they only allow very prominent rabbis in. And as you can see, all these people around watching him at the Western Wall, praying at the Western Wall, and you can even see, I'll put up on the screen, rabbis coming and kissing his hand, these more prominent rabbis, these older rabbis, showing their respect to him. So just strange seeing such a young figure rise up to the level this man is. And then a more recent, just as of yesterday, October 19th, 2022, one of the most prominent rabbis from New York goes and visits Israel to go and visit the Yanuka. For what reason? Giving him his blessing? I mean, the Israeli people are expecting a Messiah. They're expecting this person to come, this person to save them, and this person will take the world by storm. And when when the Jewish Messiah comes, he will fulfill everything the Jewish people are looking for. When the Islamic Messiah comes, the El-Mahdi, he will fulfill everything the Islamic people are looking for. So it's just very interesting to see when we actually have a Jewish figure, a prominent figure within the Jewish community, rising up, fulfilling this potential messianic expectation that the Jewish people are looking for. To bring it all to a conclusion, we just always need to look back to the biblical text. The Antichrist and the false prophet will, of course, need to fulfill the biblical prophecies of what we know they will do in the end. False signs and wonders will follow them. They will create a peace treaty that will eventually be broken. The Antichrist will push the mark of the beast, which will be the number of his name, which will equate 666. Clearly, it will not be some hidden coded thing. It will be clear as day. People will have to make this choice very willingly. It will not just be some hidden thing like someone accidentally took the mark. So the Antichrist will push the mark of the beast, and both the Antichrist and the false prophet will be in complete opposition of Christianity and believing that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Now, those qualities will probably not all appear at once, so that's why it's good to just keep an eye out when people are rising to prominence. But these are factors that we always have to look back on to be completely sure who the Antichrist or the false prophet is when they come on the scene. Has to be backed up by the Bible. So again, I'm not saying this guy is the Antichrist or the false prophet, but we have to look at prominent figures when they rise up. So who do you think the Antichrist will be? Where do you think he will come from? When do you think he'll come? You can leave that in the comments below. I have another video I posted recently about identifying the Antichrist. I'll put that up on the screen. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to God except through him. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Okay, I'm back. Now, I agree with a lot of what this was actually. Sling and Stone. Forgive me for saying your name wrong on the last video. Shout out to him and his channel. Please go support his channel as well. Sling and Stone. But from what they were saying is they're actually expecting two messiahs. Now, we know that there's an Antichrist and a quote-unquote false prophet. So that would fit that. So, I mean, a lot of what he was saying, you know, is spot on. It's just that, you know, he said that they will be coming against Christianity. He's coming against those that keep the commandments of the Most High. That's who are those are the ones that he's coming for, especially the remnant seed, because you got to think in this day and age, you know, the quote unquote, you know, ish people, they control the banking system, the majority of them. I won't say all of them because I know that's kind of taboo right now. So if they're controlling that, what do they need a messiah for exactly? This war in Ukraine, it's not even, it's Russia, between Russia and Ukraine. You know, the Israeli people, they're not even a part of it. So what is this messiah truly for? You know, because like their prophecies that they're going off of is based off of the Talmud. Now that comes from, I believe that was from the Babylonian captivity when they started doing that. And, you know, it's been going on and they keep passing down from generation to generation. But again, like to have a messiah or a savior, you have to be saved from something. So that should let you know that there must be something worse coming. Be mindful, stay vigilant, pay attention to everything that's going on. Because if they're going to set up this quote unquote messiah, then something else traumatic has got to be happening on a worldwide scale for the whole world to look to him, to look to them. So, and now, because again, I was getting a lot of comments and people saying all type of stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm just telling you what they're saying. You have rabbis. He said one of the top 2 or 3 most respected rabbis from Jerusalem or whatever, has been claiming that he's been having meetings with the Messiah. That's not me. That's what they are saying. You see, he's getting the chief seats in the synagogues. When he can't even go out to the Wailing Wall. You know, so people, rabbis are coming from America to go and pay him homage. And notice that they all have to kiss his hand. Almost like he has a ring, like kiss the ring. So just be mindful, just pay attention, people. We are firmly in the end times. It's something to be mindful of, to stay vigilant, but it's something to also to be joyful for, because that means that, you know, our day of redemption draweth nigh. So just look up. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land. People of the book, people of the faith, stay rooted and don't fall for this deception. And so this is Yah's Assembly. I'm Yehuda. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, like and share our content. And until next time, as always, peace, family. I got another one coming. Whoa.